Hello everyone, welcome to the release of the NR2003 NASCAR on Fox ticker that I have created for NR2003 utilizing Apache and GNL-TV. If you are here, you are looking to obtain and learn how to use the ticker, and I must make it known this tutorial is going to be very long-winded and very long. However, I have provided a README file in the file that will be uploaded that you need to download in order to get this to work. So if you just want to read that, you can. However, I highly encourage you to follow along with the tutorial in case you have any problems. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to join my Discord, which is in the description. I know, moan and groan. And you are going to want to go into the NR2003 ticker channel, and it is right here, NR2003 ticker tutorial by me. I already have it downloaded. It's right here on my desktop. We're going to go ahead and right-click, make sure you have WinRAR or 7-zip. We're going to go ahead and extract this to the desktop. Inside this folder, we are going to have the following folders. We got Apache group, the Clable car set, which I've provided for this tutorial and this tutorial only, graphics, the PHP, and the README that I mentioned beforehand. Go ahead and open a new tab of File Explorer. You want to go into your C drive or wherever you have your Windows installed, and you want to just hover around this main area where you have your program files, your your Windows folder, and you just want to drag and drop the PHP file right there. You can go ahead and refresh, make sure it's in its right place, and then you want to go into the program files x86, and you want to drop the Apache group file in there. Within the Apache group file, you're going to go into Apache, and you're going to have Apache and GNL-TV. I mentioned in the showcase video, this is basically how you get it to work. If you are utilizing stage cautions or auto stages, you need to launch this before you launch Apache or GNL-TV, or else it will not work. So for this tutorial, I am not going to use auto stages, so we're just going to go ahead and launch Apache, and then GNL-TV.exe. All right, we have that part ready to go. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to utilize our car set that we have. We're going to go into our NR2003 folder. I have mine in Papyrus right here. And we are going to grab this car set. Now, this is just for the tutorial. Now, the number cards that I have are for this car set. So if you want to see that it works, you need to follow this car set. You need to add it into your car set for the 2022 mod. So we're just going to go ahead and go into series, FCRD, NCS 22 version 1, or whichever you have, cars, and then you just want to paste all of this, including the Dega list. You don't need to put the fart.cup car in here, but you need to have this Dega roster here. You have to have it in order so we can get the correct roster in. So you just want to paste that in here. I already have every car in here, I think we got every car. Yeah, every car is already in here for myself. So we are good to go in that regard. And what we're going to do is we are just going to go into a single race. It doesn't matter what track. I would just do something do a long race, because you're going to have to test through this. You have to get it to work. So I would do like 100% race at like Dega or a big track that's going to take a while. You can do quick race, and then you don't have these options at all. And make sure to select the Dega roster with 39 cars. Once you've made it into the session, you want to go ahead and go to the race itself and simulate the first couple laps. The reason you want to do this is because you just want you want the ticker itself to get going and not have to worry about any issues. We can go ahead and pause this if need be, but I'm just going to pause it right there, and now we can move on to the next part. The next thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and launch OBS. I'm using a second version of OBS for this tutorial. This is just to get this situated for anyone that doesn't have really anything in the tutorial. And then you want to go ahead and you want to download these two files. You want to download the source switcher from Exeldro, and you want to download the source clone from Exeldro as well. You want to create a new scene. You can call this whatever you want. I'm just going to go ahead and call this ticker. Then you want to add a browser source, and you can call this whatever you want. However, I preferably would like to call this top 10, because this is only going to display the top 10 in our ticker. You want to go ahead and post the first link that is in the README file. If you need to type it out, is http://127.0.0.1/web /ticker.php. Make this size 1920 by 1080 or whatever the size of your output is going to be. As you can see now, we now have a full-on ticker ready to go right here in OBS. I'm going to go ahead and leave this centered for the time being. Next thing we're going to want to do is we are going to add image. You can call this whatever you'd like. I'd call this base ticker because this is going to be the basic graphics for our ticker. Go ahead and go into your files. Go to desktop or wherever you downloaded the NR2003 ticker tutorial file. Go into the folder, go to graphics, and then you can click base ticker. Now the ticker is right here. Alongside this, we are going to go ahead and add another image file. This will be our guides to use, so then we can put it in the right position for the tutorial. I'm going to go press guides. And there we go. And you want to drag the top 10 right above all of this so then we can put them in the right spot. The next thing we are going to do is we are basically just going to funnel around with this so then it equals the proportions shown here. What you could do also, just to show the top 10, because this is only for the top 10. We're going to get to 11th through 20th, 21st through 30th, and wherever after this. You just want to hold and hold alt and drag. You can also do it on this side as well. We can also scale it up a little bit just so we can see the top 10 and drag up until we only have the top 10 right here. Next thing you want to do is you want to be able to then line this up with the ticker. Line this up right here. And we'll just start slowly inching this in. And as you can see, it already looks pretty nice. And we can use our keyboard as long as we have the layer selected to kind of keep dragging it in. Then all you want to do is just get it fit centered into each of these little boxes right here. I'll just go ahead and drag this down a little bit. You just want them to be completely centered into each one. Once you do it once, you're good to go. And if we turn off the guides, it looks pretty good. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a source clone. Remember, this is one of the plugins we installed earlier. You want to call this 10th to 20th or whatever you want to call it. You could call it 2. And you just want to select the top 10 browser we did beforehand. Now you're probably wondering, oh no, we're going to have to size the proportions again, but thankfully we do not need to do that. All we need to do is go into the browser, right-click it, go into Transform, copy Transform, then right-click, Transform, paste Transform. Then all you need to do is just drag this down. And there we go. We got the top 20 right there. We can cut it off right there, and then we can drag this down and cut it off right there. Now we have the top 20. Top 20 looks pretty good. If you only have 20 cars, you can stop right here, but we are not done yet. Next thing we are going to do is we are going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go to Source Clone, 21st through 30th, and we are going to grab the same one again. This will be the top 10. And remember, we had that copied earlier, so we're going to go into Transform, Paste, and this time maybe a little bit trickier because you got more positions. So you just want to drag it down far as you can. You might need to go off the page, but that's okay. Then we're just going to drag this all the way down. And then we're just going to go ahead and click this so we can drag it up. This may take a minute just having to move it up like this, but I think it's the most efficient way. And then we just want to line it up like so. We may need to go down just a tiny little bit so then we can crop out the bottom part, since we did do it pretty long. So let's drag this. We only need the top 30 for this one, so we'll just go ahead and drag it back down. And then you want to align it like so. Make sure they're kind of overlapping over one another when it comes to the ticker numbers. And then we can go ahead and hide this one. And there we go. We got 21st through 30th. And as you can probably assume, we need to do the same thing one more time for 31st through 40th in this tutorial, and then another time if we happen to do 41st through 43rd. But we are only doing 39 cars for this tutorial, so we're going to go ahead and do this. All right, as you can see, we now have 31st through 38th. We are looking good to go. However, you probably just don't want it to stay at this position. If you only have like 20 cars, yeah, you can leave it just like this. You don't really need to have a scrolling effect, but now we're going to add that scrolling effect that you definitely want to have. I'm going to go ahead and remove this so that it doesn't look confusing. Next thing you want to do is you want to add a new scene. I would call this something similar to the 10th through 20th. We can just call this 10 to 20. That makes it a little more simpler. Then you just want to go ahead, right-click this, copy, go into here, right-click, paste as a duplicate. Very important, paste as a duplicate. And we're just going to leave it right there. And as you can probably guess, we're going to add another one, 2021 to 30. We're going to go in here, go ahead and copy, 21st. Get uninvisible, there we go. And one last one, this will be 31 to 40. Copy and paste as a duplicate right there. Make sure it's shown on the screen. What you can actually do now is you can actually delete these three because we already have them in those scenes, so they are ready to go. Next thing you want to do is you want to add a source switcher. This is the other plugin that we added earlier, and I would call this other or anything that's basically not the top 10. You want to add these sources. You'll see here we got to press add. Then remember those scenes we just added? You want to type in these names exactly. So 10 to 20, 21 to 30, and then 31 to 40. Then if we go on here, you'll notice they're right here on the screen. However, we need to make it so it's going to start looping it. You want to enable time switch, and then I would put this to around 20,000 milliseconds. Now, unfortunately, you're not able to customize, like, let's say there's only one person on one page. You're not going to be able to customize that, so maybe you could put it down to something like 15,000 milliseconds. For the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to put it to 5,000 so then we can see it in action. Then we're going to scroll down, and for transition type, we're going to click fade, and then you want to do fade for basically all of them. This will give it that nice little fade look. If you want to, you can also play around with these and try to get the best one that you can. I just like fade. I think it looks the nicest, and we'll leave this to 1,000 milliseconds. As you can see, we got Larson in 11th, and then it's going to transition into Herbst into 21st, and it's going to keep going. It's going to keep doing this for that interval that we set of 5,000 seconds, or 5,000 milliseconds, which is 5 seconds. And yeah, we pretty much have that ready to go. The only parts we need to add now are the laps and the flag. For the laps, you're going to add a new browser source, and you want to just call this laps. And then you are going to want to copy and paste the source link that I provided in the README file. It is right here. It is http://127.0.0.1/web/racestats.php, and you just want to make this 1920 by 1080 or whatever your resolution is. Also, before I continue, if the base ticker does not look nice, you can also change the resolution by going into the graphics file provided in the ticker tutorial. It is right here, graphics. You'll want to have Photoshop or GIMP or something that can open up PSD files. Just go on Photopea, it'll work. You want to open this ticker graphics PSD file, and you'll notice this right here is where the ticker is. You can customize the name, you can customize the backplate right here. So right here, we're going to go ahead and just type shitfuck, because why not? We'll make it all caps, shitfuck. And then we also have my little logo here just as the base. You can use this to make whatever you want. Right here, the change color, if you want to change the color to something different, let's say you want to make it red. Let's go up here, it's red. Looks good to go. If you want to add any gradients, you can add gradients too. There we go. Now, back into the laps. Sorry for the little cutaway. You just want to use the same alt-drag concept we used earlier to just show the laps. The laps are right here on the right side. Just want to drag this down, size it up a little bit, make sure it's completely cut off, and then you just want to enable the guides from earlier, and then you just want to put this right here, kind of center it with this little red line, and then drag it down, not like that, until it fits, give or take. You may need to do a little bit of sizing, just try and fit it inside that line, and if we disable the guides, there we go. So it looks like that. However, crucial last step, make sure to drag this over here. The reason why is because on the final lap, it is going to display the text final lap, and when the race is over, it's going to display the text checkered. You can edit this in the PHP files to whatever you'd like, but that's a little more advanced for this tutorial. Make sure the guides are enabled and go ahead and click browser. We're going to call this one the flag. And we're going to add it again, 1920 by 1080. There you go. It took a minute there to show up, but it should show up eventually. Just give it some time. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing as before. Alt drag, make it a little bigger so then you can perfectly get the green in there. This will work for all the flags as well. Make sure there's nothing covering on the sides. And there we go. Now we have the green, and you just want to line this up right there on the little white box. Move it up just a tad. You just want to zoom it in until it fits right into that box. Notice it's a little off, so we can just kind of grab it, put it in there a little more. All right, now it looks good to go. Now all you need to do is add your race. We're going to go ahead and go on here into NR, window capture. We're just going to put NR in here. We're going to drag this all the way to the bottom. And we're just going to go into NR for a second. Space. Well, I guess we'll go to a certain car. We'll go right here. Right here in the middle of the pack. And if we Alt-Tab into OBS, this is what it looks like. Now, very big disclaimer for the laps and the flag. The laps and the flag sometimes during races will come out of line. All you'll need to do is just resize it again, and once again have the guides in your files so then it is ready to go so you can put it in the right spot. That is the only problem with the ticker, is just the flags and the laps could be changed a little bit and it won't look as good. That's why I always recommend, pausing after the first lap, making sure it looks good, and then continuing to go on with the ticker. That's why it may be a little risky to do it live. You may need to pause it beforehand and then continue going green. But that is really the only problem. All right, now let's say that you want to add your own numbers to the ticker. The numbers provided are the 2025 tickers. That's why we used this roster in particular, to make sure it looks good. But let's say you want to do it for your own roster. What you want to do is you want to go into the tickers numbers file. Then we have a very, very small, it is 16 by 16 block. I've already have this ready to go, so all you need to do is change the colors and add your fonts. So on the ticker, you notice, we go on the ticker here, you'll notice that Jace Briscoe has this little orange font. We're going to go ahead and change Briscoe's font to something different. We're going to go ahead and place a new image file. Fonts. Now, I am going to provide these in the Discord as well. I'd like to thank Kuma for supplying these to me. He has no idea that I'm using this for the tutorial, but these are just some basic number fonts that you want. We're going to go ahead and go to the 19. And as you can see, we have a multiple 19 fonts. I'm going to go ahead and use the McAnally font just for this tutorial. And then you want to size it so then it looks nice. Make sure it's right in the middle. It's nice and centered. Once you have the number font where you want it, you can go right here and go into the color overlay, and then you can change the color of this. If you are using GIMP or something like that, you can always just kind of paste in your whatever color you want here. Just disable the color overlay, and that should do it for you. Go ahead and go into blending options, color overlay, and we're going to change this to a blue, just to make it a little different so then it shines out when we copy and paste it. So what we're going to do is we're going to save this as a copy, save it as a GIF, and then what I would do is I would create my own new numbers folder. So we're just going to call this NR2003 numbers. Put this into its own pack. We'll call this test. We'll make this as a test pack. And then save this as 19. Then you want to go into that numbers folder here on your right hand side, go in, and then on a second file explorer, go to program files, Apache, Apache again, htdocs, web, images, numbers, and then as you notice I deleted the 19, so all we need to do is just drag this in here. Click continue. Now if we go into the ticker right here on OBS, and we go ahead, and this will be something else that can happen. Sometimes it won't update. You'll need to go into the top 10 browser and just click refresh. And then you'll see that the 19 has been updated with a new blue number. When it comes to creating a number pack, you're going to have to make each number individually for your fonts. Then all you need to do is have Apache closed. Don't do what I just did. I would have the thing closed, make all the numbers, then put them in the numbers folder, and then overwrite those files, and then launch Apache, do what we just did to get it running, and then you'll have your brand new numbers ready to go. Very crucial, make sure it is 16 by 16. I would definitely use the folder I provided. Now, you can adjust the size within the PHP files, but that is beyond this tutorial. You'll need to find that out. You'll need to find that out on your own. And that is it for this tutorial for the NR2003 ticker created by myself. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'd like to thank Peter Dickin for creating GNL TV. And I'd like to thank Matthew Wilhite and Taladev. Taladev, thank you for providing the code. And Matthew for making the basic PHP edits to make this possible. In the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the new ticker. And also, make sure to show screenshots in the Discord. We have ourselves a dedicated screenshots file folder. And if you need help, also go into the help section. I'll definitely help you out. Yes, this will be available. Don't worry. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, take it easy.